Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store, affiliate link below. But I want to jump over here to this particular story because this is insane. This just goes to show you precisely where Jeff Bezos' mind is at when it comes to Lord of the Rings. So it says here, the insane amount of money Amazon could spend on the Lord of the Rings TV show. It says, ever since Amazon broke the news that it's been developing a live-action Lord of the Rings series, everyone from casual fans to Sean Astin has been eager for more details. It's being reported that Amazon paid out a whopping $250 million for the global rights, and by the time it's all said and done, a Lord of the Rings show could cost Amazon over $1 billion. That's right, Dr. Evil Time, $1 billion. It's a dated reference, but one I still love. Now, The Hollywood Reporter reported financial murmurings of insiders who say the $250 million price tag is meant to cover 5 seasons of the flagship series, plus the rights to a potential spinoff, and the rest of the expenses would assumably come from the actual production itself. Oh my God. From the massive set designs to the casting to the post-production effects and then some. For those wondering, $1 billion is definitely an astronomical budget for a TV show, and even for some film franchises. It goes without saying that if this Lord of the Rings series eventually reaches that total, it will be in contention for the most expensive television show of all time. And then it goes on to say that this current title is held by Netflix's The Crown, which is said to have a budget of $130 million for its 10 episode seasons. That show is pretty good too. But the whole thing here with Lord of the Rings TV show, let's talk about this here. Why might this be happening? $1 billion is definitely interesting. So Christopher Tolkien, the son of J.R. Tolkien, just stepped down or announced he's going to be retiring as the manager of the Tolkien estate, right? So he's stepping down from being the guy who basically runs everything Tolkien related. This is coming days after this agreement was met, which leads me to believe that this was kind of a final act of his. It leads me to believe that this was him selling the final, agreeing to this deal, going through it, collecting the money, and then stepping down to allow the next person to take over. But at the same time, what this also tells me is that this opens up for Peter Jackson to come on in and to be an executive producer or a director or whomever on this particular series. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, God damn, could we just get somebody else other than Peter Jackson? You're not entirely wrong there. But at the same time, when it comes to Lord of the Rings and its popularity, at least for younger generations, it is synonymous with Peter Jackson. It is absolutely synonymous with Peter Jackson. And there's no other way to describe it. There's literally no other way to describe it. So, plus you have the unpublished works or the unfinished stories of Similarium, whatever the hell it's called. I can't think of the name right now. Or I can never pronounce it in my head. It's always something else in my head, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Those have, that has a whole bunch of stuff. It's more like an encyclopedia of things that have happened up through the Fourth Age in Middle Earth. They could easily pull from that. We know that Warner Brothers and the rights to the IP allows them to make stuff like Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor, wildly popular games in that regard, expanding upon the lore of Lord of the Rings. And we can see where a lot of this might be going. And if they're given the chance to kind of tell a prequel series leading into the events of the Fellowship, it could be fascinating to see what happens because it's uncharted territory. They basically have like an encyclopedia, a roadmap, if you will, of these particular events, but they're going to be able to have and take some insane creative liberties with it, which, don't get me wrong, they've done. They've done in the 2 trilogies, much to the anger of certain fans. Believe me, one of my best friends is a diehard Lord of the Rings fan who, when the movies came out, we were working at the same theater, and he was furious at the changes, loved the movies, furious at the changes, and we would usually sit there and debate that, or he would just rant about it while we sat there and drank beer after work. This happened multiple times. So I like to troll him with Lord of the Rings whenever I can. But the point is $1 billion for a budget for this thing doesn't quite seem entirely out of the realm of possibility for Amazon. Jeff Bezos is one of the richest men in the world, if not the richest man in the world. And if this is a passion project for him, he ain't going to care. He already knows 1 out of every $2 spent on the internet goes for Amazon. He gets his cut. So if he wants to blow this all on a passion project, by all means, man, let it rain, just let it rain, let it go. My fear about this, though, is that it will essentially go to the point of, well, basically overindulgence of it. Lord of the Rings. This $1 billion project is being done as a way to become Amazon's Game of Thrones. So we'll have to wait and see if it could happen. I would argue that it could happen. I would argue that you could either boil it down to two book franchises to be adapted into a TV series that would in fact do as well as I think Jeff Bezos what he wants. And that would be Lord of the Rings, and the other would actually be Harry Potter. I would not be surprised if somewhere down the road we got 7 seasons of a Harry Potter adaptation that was in fact a more direct adaptation of the books. And I could see that being another passion project for Jeff Bezos. I'm just kind of putting that out there into the ether and to see what happens. But $1 billion, man. What do you guys think about that? Definitely let me know.